Day. It's your innovation coach, Rob Jackson, and welcome to another edition of the Innovate Guam podcast. Podcast where we look at all things innovation, technology, and improvement related to the island of Guam. Like, subscribe, and follow me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, IG, and now Substack. My podcast drops the beginning of each week. Also, look for my Innovate column in the Pacific Daily News the first and third Fridays of each month. All right, my guest for today's podcast holds a master's degree in engineering management from the University of Missouri at Rolla and a bachelor of science in mechanical engineering from the University of Dayton. He is a licensed professional engineer in Guam. He serves as a general manager for the Guam Power Authority, the position he's held since 2005. He has guided GPA through natural disasters like the 1993 earthquake, Typhoon Pongsamwa in 2002, and Typhoon Mawa in 2023. With over 35 years of experience in power, he has been instrumental in transforming DPA into a modern, customer centric utility. His commitment to public service and accountability has been recognized with awards such as the 2024 Professor John M. Phillip Excellence in Government Accountability Award and the 2023 James D. Donovan Individual Achievement Award from the American Public Power Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mr. John Benavente. Sir, how are you
Mm.
doing today?
Very good, Rob. Have a day and have a day, Guam.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here on the podcast and looking forward to the discussion. Now, we have a tradition here in on the Innovate Guam podcast. We start off with some icebreaker questions to kind of get a sense about where your head is at in terms of innovation. So, the first question I have to you is, what is your definition of innovation, and what does innovation mean to you?
Well, first of all, Rob, I think I like to say thinking out of the box, no? Constantly
Mhm.
looking to improve the delivery of service to the island, Guam, a very vital service, electricity. And of course, that's been my sole purpose actually for the past 30 some years, almost actually about 40 years now, working for the utility. And so times have changed, conditions have changed, finances, constraints, a lot of geopolitical issues that affect the island, most especially, to name one in particular, fuel oil prices constantly changing, things beyond our control. So we always have to find ways to mitigate that, find ways so that we can help our customers because, again, that's our sole purpose here, our whole mission, no, on the island.
So you absolutely see innovation related to what you do with GPA and GWA. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Um, so what is your personal favorite innovation or piece of technology?
Actually, it's my favorite is a piece of technology produced by technology, and it's right here, Rod. It says "Think out of the box," and this is what I use every day in meetings or whatever, and really by empowering our employees, empowering people around me to do that. That's how we get things done because I am one person. This this delivery of power service in Guam is a cradle to grave scenario. We have to bring in that energy, uh, transform it, bring in fuel, transform it to energy, deliver it to the customer, make sure the customer is happy. We have to build them, make sure they're happy to pay their bills and all those different things. So really, it's my has been my main motto around. I cannot fault our team for thinking out of the box, and maybe it didn't go as well as such, but we can keep doing things over and over, uh, uh, all the time
Can't be
and
afraid to experiment.
find, yeah, and expect different solutions, especially when conditions have changed around us, no? And again, so I think I have to give credit to our employees. They have been very creative, so creative that when the question may be what kind of innovations have GPA provided, there's been so many. We have so many different departments that have come up and really help try to get not only get the power delivered, get the messages out there, keep the customers informed, see how we can help them as best we could. Because again, uh, over time changes and customer focus changes, and we have to work with that, constantly making improvements to keep our customers happy, no? And of course, deliver this valuable service.
So I'm so happy to hear that. You know, a lot of times there's a perception out there that a government utility organization can't be innovative, can't think out of the box, can't be creative, that you are like the antithesis of that. And to hear how you think and how you run your organization and the kind of stuff that your people are doing and the way that they approach their job, it's just really great to flip that perception on its head.
Yeah, Rob,
So
thank you for that because you are correct. Uh, one will say, and I will say it, is that public service is actually the best type of model for providing energy to its ratepayers. However, the combination of how private entities run the organization or empower their people to come up with effective ways to be efficient and effective, the combination of the two really makes a great utility for our island. So I try to combine the combination of the two. Unfortunately, with being a government entity, there are constraints and stuff, and so that's why we try to become even more innovative. Case in point, and again, I may be getting into a little to some of your questions, but case in point, our Government of Guam here has a one size fits all procurement scenario, and we procure our annual cost of for labor is only 8% of our total revenue. The rest
mm,
is procured. But here we are
mm,
procuring as much as the entire government of Guam at GPA, but have to follow rules and regulations that actually apply to, you know, less complex procurement of less complex equipment, parts, technologies, and different things like that. So that's one of the challenges we have, and we try to innovate and work around it. We comply, but I know that there are ways that we can make that more efficient and effective in the future, and that's actually part of our future ongoing notes to make that happen. But public power, uh, the ratepayers are the stockholders, and we are accountable to them, and therefore we have to find ways to make sure that they get the best service that they can, and that's what we instill with our employees. Take care of that customer, go the extra mile to take care of them and stuff. And if that's not happening, then we need to find a way and make that change necessary throughout that.
absolutely. So let's pull up a little bit then and talk strategic. You've
Mhm.
led GPA through some significant milestones. Can you share some of your overarching vision for Guam's energy future over the next decade or so?
Thank you, Rob. And really, our vision, and which is really our GPA goal or mission, and that's to provide energy solutions. And again, we don't say just energy. We've got energy solutions. Because energy could be just the way we deliver it, or the way people use energy, or whatever it takes. No, energy solution in a safe, reliable, resilient, and environmentally friendly and affordable manner.
Hmm.
And the kicker here now that we're really working to get to is on a sustained basis. We can't have improvement that works today and then next year we have to continue to make changes to satisfy that. So we've been looking at ways to make that happen. And again, some of the things that we're doing today is really getting us to what I think in the next 3 years, 3 to 5 years, really significantly achieving that goal. And
Mm.
again, part of our discussions today will go to that. Some of the significant improvements that are occurring, that will occur this year, will occur by 2028, and certainly by 2030. And again, things that we have planned for some time, have been implementing, had constraints like COVID and typhoon, malware, and other things, but yet still constantly on focus to complete. And again, that's the main things that we've been. That's our main focus. Everyone focused with that mission. How do we to provide that safe, reliable, resilient, environmentally friendly, and affordable energy on a sustained basis. That's our goal.
Well, that's great, the way that you clarified the vision out there. Can you talk to me a little bit more about how you've seen Guam's energy landscape evolve in the last few years that helped shape some of the thinking about what the future might look like, and highlight, some trends or some challenges and stuff like that that's shaping that future strategy?
So I like to go back okay, a few years, and most especially around the 2012 period time frame. Guam had for so many years been burning heavy oil, which is cheap. And of course, we got a waiver from US EPA to do that for years, because actually Guam has been burning the cheap heavy oil, they call it, since 1955 when the military first brought heavy oil to the island. But unfortunately, environmental pushes and everything at that point in 2012 provided regulations that require us to to clean up the environment, no? So beginning at that point in time, we started to looking, okay, there's no way that we can do this with existing units. We have to find better ways to accomplish this. And that's when we started looking at the technologies that are really could provide us to comply with the regulations. In addition to that, we look at fuel oil has always been an issue. Uh, Cost of fuel oil flying off the ceiling because of geopolitical concerns. For example, case in point, Ukraine versus Russia invading Ukraine. Our
Right.
fuel oil prices went up the ceiling, not only at the gas pump, but certainly in the utility. And so things like that, we've always been trying to find a solution as to how we can control our destiny, how we can minimize, alleviate that difficulty that we've always encountered. So that's when we started looking at technologies. We looked and eventually came up with what we call a combined cycle uh, combustion system. A combined cycle system that with larger units come up to over 60 some percent in thermal efficiency, very efficient machines. But we didn't see much of any in because Guam is substantially smaller. We had to look and really force the issue. We had to prepare and determine whether if in fact is it possible or nearly possible. And so we did that. We went out for a bit for a thermal efficiency of about 51%, which we estimate was what we can get for this type of category of technology. Lord behold, we did get a bid for 51.3%. And that is what we got today that's being constructed and almost completed, the Ukudu power plant. The Ukudu power plant, 51% thermal efficiency versus our most efficient machine today, 39%, and most are 28%. The Ukudu power plant, which is going to come on the line in September of this year, is actually being commissioned right now under tests, helping us. It's so efficient that we're going to reduce our import of oil by 900,000 barrels per year. No? 900,000 barrels a year, even at $100 a barrel, right? That's $90 million of money that is not going to get exported from the island just through an exchange of product. You know what I mean? That's money that
It
will
really,
provide our customers, right? More money to multiply, more things, and therefore will actually help the economy of Guam substantially. But most importantly, it would help our ratepayers. And so definitely, you may be familiar, uh, our LEAC is really the fuel component price of our base rate of our bill for customers. It has gone as high as 31 cents in the after the Ukraine Russia war. Our plan is to bring that down on September 1st to 13 cents a kilowatt hour. That's a huge,
okay.
huge drop.
Yes,
And
yes.
not only is that, but if we ever got back to the Ukraine, to the scenario we were just in of 31, 32 cents a kilowatt hour, the maximum the new power plant will bring that LEAC to is around 19 to 20 cents. So therefore, we're able to, yes, there might be there will be some difficulty, but not substantial. I think people could adjust to it, and that's why we start to talk about affordable energy. The- Um, and again, allow me to just talk about the Ukudu power plant, Rod, because it is the
Before you
cornerstone.
go on with the Ukadu power plant,
Yeah,
some follow-up questions
yeah.
for you. The 51.3% efficiency rating on that, where does that efficiency baseline relate to kind of the industry standard worldwide? What are kind of the world-class plants around the world? What efficiency rating are they at now?
That's really one of the tops right now, Rob, when you compare it to the size of the machinery, you're talking about 98 megawatt combined cycle plant versus the hundreds of megawatts, maybe 5 to 800 megawatt capacity plants that get up to 65% thermal efficiency. So for systems like ourselves, this is kind of the top of the line of efficiency. Giving you an idea, when you talk about what is efficiency, what does it translate in energy production? Our best machine today under the use burning the oil uh, is 15 kilowatt hours per gallon of fuel. This machine is going to give us about 21 kilowatt hours per gallon of fuel. A lot of the other machines that we're burning that has come through all the years are more like 11 kilowatt hours per gallon. So that's why the net result is going to be 900,000 barrels less a year. Uh, how does that translate with the total amount of barrels that we burn in an annual basis today? Right now, we burn 2.7 million barrels a year. That's going to go down to 1.8. And as I relate to you some of the renewable programs that's going to come on the line in 2028, that 1.8 is going to go down to 1.5. So we basically have cut the fuel import for the island by about 50%, which means we're 50% less vulnerable to external fuel price increases. And really, It makes us even 50% less reliant on fossil fuel and more reliant to the renewables that we are have in place and are putting in place for the island. So it's a combination of all of this that's going to achieve what we like to say our mission, substantially achieve that in the next 3 years. No?
That's great numbers. Can you talk a little bit in terms of what Okadu is going to do for you in terms of reduction of emissions or improved
Yep.
reliability?
The total reduction of emissions that we've been working on since actually 2022 and would includes Ukudu coming on in September of this year, cleans the island sulfur dioxide emissions by 99.9%. No
Wow.
more, no more high sulfur, or high sulfur emissions and everything that can hurt or environmentally unsafe for people on the island. It's a huge thing, and of course, with any huge environmental improvement, there has been a price, right? Fortunately for us, because we are putting a more efficient unit on and cutting the volume of oil that we burn, there's actually going to be a savings by doing that. So, that's the added benefit of all of this. The new power plant can
Circle of
actually,
goodness.
yep, perfect storm for us. And it's nice. I've been through so many disastrous perfect storm. I'm very happy to be on this side of the equation for once, which is really a program that will provide our customers something very uh, tan tangible and sustainable for years to come. The Ukudu power plant actually can burn natural gas also. So we're just finishing the study. It's saying it's feasible, and then we're going through the process to see whether we're going to bring in natural gas. And why is this run? We're diversifying in fuel, no? If oil prices go up, natural gas are better contracts, we will go to natural gas. Renewables, again, it's not 100 renewable at any cost for Guam Power Authority. If I did that, it would be similar to Hawaii and California, who's now one of the highest energy costs in the nation. They're even higher than Guam because renewables at any cost. I'm not saying that renewables is bad, but it's the combination of how do you shape it into the island and get it at the right price. Because I'm not going to get a raise for going 100% renewable at any cost. I may, and I didn't say I will, I may get a raise if I did reduce the total energy cost of the customers of the island. So again, all of that. It is an IPP, Rob, meaning an independent power producer. This is where we're talking about running it in a private way. They're putting in the power plant. They will own it for 25 years. They have to deliver energy based on standards. If they do not deliver, they are penalized. And at the end of 25 years, they turn over the power plant to GPA ownership and stuff. So that way, the financing, all of that, how they buy the parts, how they hire people, and all of that is really under them because that's one of the constraints that we have with the utility in a public utility. Civil service rules, you can only hire people this way. But people resign for reasons here this way, and so you're trying to get somebody on the board so that you can run that machine. Very,
Right.
very difficult. So therefore, making the private entity do that, making them accountable and responsible, and paying the price will provide that service. So that's what this contract is. It is combustion turbines, and as you know, they're more reliable than even diesel units. If you
Mm.
recall, we used to have airplanes running with four engines. Now
Right
we're
now,
running
everything
with
goes to two.
two
Yeah.
engines. Why?
Yeah.
Because they're much more reliable. So this is what
Reliable.
the engines are of this combined cycle. So they're going to be much more reliable for our, it's going to use wastewater for cooling the generator of the steam turbine. So
That's
right
smart.
there, that's where in Ukudu, the wastewater, which normally just goes out to the ocean, is being treated and utilized so that we don't have to, uh, we protect our aquifer, provide that for our
Yes.
drinking water and all of that. So again, a lot of this are all the extra benefits of having the Ukudu power plant, having it run by a private entity, still for our ownership, uh, really allows us now to focus on delivery to the customer. They're all still a
So
part of GPA, but we have teams now that are entirely devoted to making sure that energy comes back out. And if they don't maintain the machine, they don't get paid. And you know that's not going to happen, right? And stuff.
yes.
So
So
Okuru is a cornerstone.
So it's very impressive, and it shows that you all have put a lot of thought and analysis into this transition and bringing on board the Ukadu power plant. So just some follow-up questions about it. Um, one, I think your original timeline for it coming online was September. I hear that you're actually ahead of schedule. Is that a true statement?
Uh, yes, and a combination of that. One, their commissioning period is started in February all the way up through September of this year. Our contract for them is that the commissioning has to be September 30th of this year. Otherwise, they pay $240,000 a day in penalty. If they were to commission it on September 15, we will give them a $1 million bonus. Okay? Because originally, originally it was not going to be completed until January of 2026, like 4 months later. And of course, that would have cost our ratepayers about close to $18 million more in fuel costs. So we
Mm,
negotiated, and this is the current contract. In addition to that, we know they're running the machines already. We know that they usually have a long commissioning period just in case something really breaks and stuff, so they don't get faced with these penalties. We know that the machines are running well and actually so well that they probably could be commissioned earlier. However, that may not necessarily be the case. They may still stick with September 15 to make sure they're all ready. So we have come up with an agreement where we can ask them to do additional testing of the machines per se and come on the line and provide us the additional capacity over this next 4 months, the high peak time of the year because of higher temperatures. That way we can mitigate or alleviate any load shedding possibility. In addition to that, we're going to pay them $5 million for the 3 to 4 month period, but on the same token, we're going to save over 10 million, which will pay them five and still save our ratepayers 5 million. So we get a $5 million savings plus higher reliability of something that, and our people are not struggling trying to keep energy going like we have been through all these different delays. So it really, again, was an ideal decision, and that already has been approved by CCU, PUC, and the next day I signed the contract and it's all signed and sealed. So that's happening right now. They're actually on the line today. They're running, I think, close to 30 to 40 megawatts helping the system today. So
that's
commissioning, it
outstanding.
might be a little earlier, but being commissioned earlier or not, we are already saving money by having them run at least 60% of the total commissioning uh, uh, total. We're going to run them around 135 megawatt versus the 198 megawatt that they're contracted for on commissioning day. No?
That's outstanding. So refresh my memory again. For the Ukadu power plant, um, what aspects do you have contracted out and who do you have it contracted out to?
The Ukudu power plant is contracted to KEPCO. KEPCO is the national utility for South Korea. So
South
they
Korea.
actually are
Okay.
they're like the GPA of the entire South Korea and stuff.
Okay.
And so they venture out to other places and other with their technologies and everything. And they were the ones that won the bid to providing Guam. So they have a huge resource and experience, and of course, national pride. So they
Yes.
must keep this machine running, otherwise it points to Korea, and certainly no one's gonna like that from Korea, right? So we see it as a very good partnership, a lot of pride in them, and certainly they know what they're doing, no? So that then provides us reliability and certainty in delivery of service, no?
Okay. All right, let's talk about clean energy goals for a little bit. As you know, the governor set targets for 2035 timeframe for clean energy targets. Um, and I think it's a 50% renewable energy by 2035. Is GPA on track to meet that goal? And can you talk a little bit about your plan to execute against those goals?
Yes, Rod, our goal is actually to achieve 50% by 2030. Our goal, to hit in no uncertain term, to hit 2035 goal, we see it really as a benefit for us to achieve it earlier in 2030, at least the first 50%. You may ask me about how do we get to 100%, and we can have a additional discussion there. But what I like to say is, without the first 50%, you're not going to get to the 100%. So this general manager will get us to 50%, and then maybe the next general manager will get everyone else to the 100%. But my commitment is to get us to that foundation that will give us this 50% and allow us now to venture into 100%, because the first 50% is actually the most beneficial part for us. We do have now today about 16% of our energy generated from renewables, and that's basically all solar. We've had a contract for wind. Didn't pan out. There's just not enough wind to sustain any type of feasibility on windmills at this point. So everything
So
that
let
we,
me
yeah, is solar. Yeah.
Can I interrupt you right there?
Sure.
Because I've heard about this and it baffles me that the
Yeah.
idea that we don't have enough wind here in Guam to successfully power windmills for renewable energy. That's just so surprising to me. Can you talk to me the details about why that wasn't working?
Well, it's really if you're in the neighborhood of Windward Hills, there's the Windward Hill Cross Island Road. We have one
Uh-huh.
windmill out there. And that's the one you can take down during a storm. You can lay it down. So it's a 275 kilowatt. And it's not something that I went for, but it was a grant that was provided to us from the Department of Energy for $2 million. You can go, certain times of the year when the trade winds are operating, then you see that windmill turning. Other times of the year, the thing is just laying dead, if you will. It's just waiting for wind. Uh, Maybe in some areas of Guam there might be a possibility, no? But certainly what we thought, and that's why we put that windmill there, that area is like a wind tunnel area through the island. And if any place was going to be successful, we thought that would be the area. So it's not the trade winds are not similar to our trade winds here. Like maybe you start in November, December into March or so, and then all of a sudden,
Right,
woo, it starts to get very hot here, right? Less trade
right.
winds. So that's kind of It's not none of those similar to Hawaii or other places or Texas when you have constant trade winds. So therefore, it gives you almost like a 24/7 of production. Here, it just doesn't happen. Anything we can depend on. Uh, the only thing we can depend on really so far here, and again, practical technology has been solar PV. But there again, we can only depend upon it in the daytime. It's religiously coming on the line around 7 o'clock and getting off the line at 6 o'clock in the evening when the sun comes down. And so that has been what proponents have been bidding to us. And we don't own any solar farms, Rob. This is our power purchase agreement by contractors again, private entities that provide solar to us. They
Okay.
deliver the solar, we pay. If they don't deliver, is no risk to us. If a typhoon breaks down the
Mm,
solar farm, we don't pay, of course. They don't deliver, we don't pay. And again, part of it is because there is still a lot of unknowns. No, really, we had a typhoon Mauer, and the solar farm we had here in Guam survived actually quite well. But again, you never know, right? And stuff. So we could. So most of all of our contracts has been that way, and so where we are today is 16%, and just in February,
16%.
yes, 1/6. So 16% of all the energy that we have that we use today or serve our customers is from renewables, solar.
Okay.
In January of 2028, uh, there'll be 132 megawatts solar farm there again in the Cross Island Road, right next to the windmill that is standing there. And that comes with a 67 megawatt battery, the for a 4 hour battery that will catch solar and use it in the evening time to shave the peak, uh, because the Guam Power Authority is mainly a residential peak. So when customers get home at 6 o'clock in the evening, that's when everything starts turning on. So usually from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening is our highest peak time. And that is what we have always been struggling to try to meet. So when that project is actually another KEPCO project, comes on the line in 2028, February 2028, then that will bring us to 30% renewable. In addition to that, we have about another 200 megawatts on the table now being considered for award. If we did award that, all of that, and I'm not saying that we will because there might be some technical issues with some of them, but if we did, we would achieve 53% but in 2028. So we're in the process of awarding, depending on, they don't change any price on us. And two, they are technically able to integrate into the system seamlessly so that they're not creating problems for any of our customers. So they're going through that now. So that in a way will allow us now to achieve 53% by 2028. If not, not all of this come true, we're going out for another bid in 2026 that will certainly be on the line by around 2029, 2030, and allow us to meet the 50% renewable. So yes, we're well
Outstanding.
on our way to making that happen. Now, Rod,
Outstanding.
the question may be, how does the cornerstone of Okudu play with the renewables that we're planning? The
Right.
cornerstone of Ukudu will keep energy costs down, but we have seen diesel prices go to 150, 180, and maybe $200 dollars a barrel in the future. Right now, they're $100 a barrel. Whenever fuel prices go to about 140, 150, the renewables are the hedge. So then they keep the pricing down. So it could go to 180, and we're actually saving money because the renewables are taking over in terms of the pricing. So therefore, this is the combination that is going to help us to be affordable energy on a sustained basis. See, the combination of renewables plus very efficient machines provide that scenario for us. And and again, is it achievable? Yes, we're well on our way and actually have contracted, and we'll be close to that in the 2020, close and intend to achieve it in the 2028 to 2030 period, which is only a few years away, right? And stuff.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Are there any significant issues, challenges with respect to executing your strategy, like battery storage technology, land use, anything like that, that maybe you're trying to work and kind of get over the hump with?
Well, first of all, in terms of the proponents providing the energy, because it's a power purchase agreement, they're responsible for finding the property and making it all happen. I did make a survey. We did make a survey some time ago, and saw that there is actually potential for over 1,800 megawatts of renewable, even utility scale. These are mainly on land areas that perhaps some of them are hilly or really not ones that you see immediately being developed. And so there is potential, but then we let the proponent do that because we won't own anything after their 25 year contract. They own the land, they own everything, just deliver the energy, and after that, either we negotiate another deal, or technologies have improved enough so that other things can happen for us. So, in terms of batteries, there's certainly a need for batteries, and I'm happy to say that we have had batteries in our system now, and these are the ones that we do own, but have the supplier actually on a O&M contract for 20 years to make sure that they continue to operate, because again, these are new technologies for us. So we have 40 megawatts of batteries that have been running. And why is that? When you have solar farms and just a small cloud cover goes over it, their production just goes down to
Mm,
zero or so. And then when
right.
the cloud cover passes by, it goes right back up. Well, you can have a generator having a minus on generating power for the system that way. So that's why we put in that 40 megawatts of battery. So it's like it's catching the energy, and then whenever it happens for the solar farm, the batteries take over very quickly. So then
Yeah.
you have a smooth
Smooth flow.
low. So that's the first phase. That was what you call for frequency control. That was our first
Yes.
experience with intermittency. So we have solved that one. So now we need to shift, because what happens with all of the solar being produced in the daytime, there's a huge solar curve, solar dot curve they call it. That means we have to back down all the other generators, or in fact, take them off the line, because only, you can only deliver energy depending on the demand of the customer. So we have to take that solar in the daytime and shave the peak time at night, because that's when it's used the most. And so that
Right.
is why we have now our phase four contract, where they're going to capture 50% of the energy and use it at night. Therefore, we're going to shave our peak, and therefore, that means we have more capacity for growth. So it's all going to start leading to this. And in addition to that, last week or so, the CCU approve my request, our request for a 90 megawatt 4-hour battery so that
Mm,
I can use that, we can use that to capture again that dark curve and use it at night. That means like we're getting another 90 megawatt generator that of course if you run it at full speed can only run for 4 hours, but hey, that's the only time you need it because the rest of the day
right.
is so and so. So it really
Smooth out the
has
peaks.
more and more capacity to smooth out the curve and don't push those efficient Ukudu generators up and down like this. Try and let them
Right,
run smooth, and therefore we all save money, right? So that has
right.
been approved at the CCU, and again, will be on its way to the PUC. And I'm hopeful that they will approve it and get that on the line by 2028 also. So the combination of all this is coming together that would allow us now to integrate renewables with our combined cycle because you know it does rain here, right? And I've seen 19 days of rain here where you hardly
Yeah.
produce any renewables, and so therefore conventional energy is always a must here, unless we find other ways of other renewables that could sustain us through rainy days and stuff like that. So
So
again,
let's
yeah.
talk about some things. So, do you think technologies like blockchain could help the power grid run a little bit more efficiently?
Uh, I had some of our team take a look at that, and what they don't see that really happening for us. I think they're saying it's more towards the what the crypto crypto money use and all of that.
Yeah,
So we really haven't looked that much more into it, but we didn't see that as something right in our foresight right now. We'll look a little bit more, but it's really technologies. Let me give you an idea of the technologies that we've implemented over the past several years that I didn't mention earlier. We have a smart grid system since 2012. So we can tell whatever is going out there. We can tell when your power goes off and on. We can turn off your power from the office and turn it right on as soon as someone, doesn't pay their bill and disconnected, reconnected. We also have what you call prepaid meters, which is similar to the prepaid phones, no? Some people
yeah,
prefer to just do every payday, put in some money there. So you have that option that we provide. We know everything that's going on with the system. When a circuit goes out, we know main circuits, I don't know whether you're familiar, sometimes it's out only for a minute or two. That's
right.
because we turn it right back on from here, from our dispatch control center. We also have a CCMB, real huge financial what you call software that allows us to arrange all of this, the prepaid meters, the payments, and be able to uh, even work where when you get receive an outage, you get a text so that you know that we are aware. The first thing you say, "Oh, I wonder whether they know we're out." Yes,
Right.
we'll send a text if you're part of if you allow us to give us your phone number to use that as a text. We do all of that. So there's a lot of technologies that we'd approve that again allows us
How
to.
about the smart meters? You
Yep.
talked about the prepaid meters, smart meters using
Yep.
kind of IoT technology, be able to read them more efficiently. Can you read the meters from a central location as
Yes.
well?
We have the
All
smart
right.
meters. We put them in 2012 actually, and that was through a 50% grant by Department of Energy. So they put in 16 million, and we put in $16 million, and we put that sport. So that's how we're able to. Even if the customers look at their bills today, they see their profile of energy consumption Customers can get on Guam Energy Sense. They can see their consumption. They can see how much it's costing them, how much the energy they consume every hour of the day. So those are the
Mhm.
technologies that are available now to our customers as a result of the smart meter system and everything that we put in 2012. And it's constantly improving, of course, and I know we're looking at some additional changes to it, but that's been a mainstay in how that's helped to really improve our customer service scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about ocean thermal energy conversion? That was something that was talked about at um, this year's Island Sustainability Conference. I think there was a Dr. Copping there from the Pacific Northwest National Lab, and she was talking about the possibilities of using the deltas from ocean water temperature at kind of the deeper depths that are colder versus the warmer ocean temperatures at kind of the surface area.
Okay, Ron, now I'm going to start giving you an idea of my age, no? In 1975, I came in as an engineer at Guam Power Authority. That's one of my projects was to keep an eye on ocean thermal. And why is that? Because right across the China, outside the reef by the Cabras power plant down there,
Uh-huh.
less than about half a mile out, you can go down 1,800 feet, and the delta temperature difference is 40 degrees. So the
40 degrees.
one of the best location in the world for ocean thermal is right outside Cabras power plant.
Mm,
Unfortunately, and I've followed so many entities trying to commercialize it, and it
yeah.
hasn't happened even up to this day. Let me give you a second point. In 2003, I came back again to GPA, and about a year or two later, one of the first things we did was we instigated a study on ocean thermal air conditioning systems because outside of Tengisan power plant, you can bring in again cooler water, pipe it to the hotels, if you will, military bases, and reduce their total air conditioning costs. So we did
Right.
that study. Unfortunately, trying to get all these hotels together to agree on something is like oh my gosh, it was a real challenge. And of course, time changed,
Because
technologies
that's
have
kind of
changed.
a less of an ask rather than
Yeah.
using uh, the thermal energy conversion as power generation. You're using it just for cooling.
That's correct because
So it's to be
that
easier, I would think.
yes, unfortunately, it's not easy to get all these businessmen together to agree on, on something. So that's still a challenge, right? Potentially down the road that could still happen, but again, now is it feasible economically? Again, it depends, no, because we're providing cheaper energy and all of that, but that's a potential that doesn't would not go away for Guam. Ocean thermal, again, condensers and everything really have to be solved, and they couldn't solve it back then. Hawaii did actually take and did some on a real small scale to work, and yes, it's doable. But was it commercially viable and all of that? It just never happened. Ocean air
Okay.
conditioning for the island of Guam. Why? Because that's our load. If you look at on a rainy day, your consumption really go down for the island. It goes down to maybe 200 megawatts. On a hot day, it's up to 265. That's
Yeah.
we're basically an air conditioning load. So potentially that has some, but of course that still requires a lot of investments and stuff, no? So that's still on the table potentially, and every now and then it pops up. But as far as ocean thermal energy conversion, I know that by heart, and I'm still waiting, no, to get commercialized.
Okay. Let's talk about strategic implications, right? So Guam's geo-strategic location makes it very important to national security. We have three large military installations here. Can you talk about what GPA is doing to ensure uninterrupted power and mission readiness for the military installations and really making it resilient and reliable across many different threats, not just typhoons, earthquakes, but also cyber threats and other kinds of disruptions.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about the cyber threat. So we have been working with almost everyone under the sun, no? From the FBI, the Coast Guard, every entity that has expertise in cybersecurity has been here in the island and has worked with our team, always looking at how do we improve our cybersecurity. So yes, that's one of our number one issues that we've been working on, and I can continue to work on. So uh, we never let our guard down, but we've been fortunate that again we've been doing well with that, and that will continue. Uh, uh, Continue, and again we have had many experts here working with us on the issue about reliability of power. Really, uh, we hardly the bases hardly ever get any uh, interruption of energy because they get it from the transmission level from us. Case in point, in the last storm, Mawar, Anderson Air Force Base did not lose power entirely. They lost power to areas that did not have underground systems, but those that had underground system, we carried a 7 megawatt load throughout Typhoon Mawar, which is basically was Anderson Air Force Base. And that was coming
Mm.
from our combustion turbine in Dededo, feeding an underground line that the Air Force actually put in and to be able to be served from that area many, many years before. So that was the proof in the pudding to show that that model works. More underground lines tied into the system could allow our customers to run through a significant storm, of course, a near super
Navy
typhoon.
learned from that from
Yep.
after the Mawar. Yeah.
Yes, and it's always been my concern why I don't see any underground lines being put in the Navy military bases. In fact, very little improvement have been put for years. So we fully support it, and I've always said we got to put some underground lines serving um, Naval Base Guam, especially from our power plants next, which Cabot Island. Uh, so again, the other thing is I have committed to DoD that every last piece of electron of energy will go to the military bases to ensure that they are mission ready and be able, because why? When this time I want them to make sure that the Patriot missile shoots here, or we're ready. I mean, that's just for protection of the Thailand community. But we don't have to go that far. But already, they hardly ever get load shedding. So the shortage on the island has really been on the civilian community. So what we've been working, of course, is to add the capacity that we are now almost completed. And what I've asked is really assistance to underground more transmission lines on the island to link the north, which is actually the Air Force, the Cam Blas area, to the southern. That provides also a benefit to the local consumers. That means I can have underground substations in Agania, Aniguac, or the one in the PD. So then immediately after a storm, I can start repairing from there and getting more customers back. So it's a dual benefit to anyone. I went on working an underground communications line. If you recall, the last after malware, we had issues communicating by cell phones throughout there. No one
Yes.
could get a hold of me. So, so we have a program in requesting assistance if possible to underground certain distribution lines for water, wastewater, cell phones, medical facilities, and everything like that. In fact, our total request was total estimate is about $7 to $8 billion. But I'm saying even if you give us 7 to 8 billion, there's no way I can spend that even in 10, 20 years by ourselves. I think one needs somewhere around close to $1.5 billion for a 10-year period, a programmatic program that allows us to systematically go in and make the most bang for the buck, and then make this island quite resilient because this threat is not going to go away. China is going to always be there. North Korea is always going to be there. So but we can start now making it underground. Therefore, the utility has the potential to serve as best way. We're not going to take down the overhead lines. We have combination of the two. That gives us more ways to get the energy to where we need it to happen. So we have that request. Hopefully something bites soon. I was hoping FEMA will help us in there, but even that has not come to fruition. But we continue to push forward. We do need some assistance because well, if I were to borrow 1.5 billion, first of all, I'm not sure that Guam Power Authority could borrow that much because of our
Mhm.
size. And secondly, the rates will more than double. And certainly that's not going to get me a raise, no,
Right.
in time soon, right? And so again, that's why I'm saying, let us serve you. This is the way, understanding the threat, focus, and everything. This is what we need to really be as resilient as we could be for all these potential issues that come up. Navy DOD actually has been a customer now, GPA, for 32 years. So really, we've been providing reliable service. We've been providing uh, uh, cheap energy service because of economies of scale. And again, coming up, they're 20% customers, so they're gonna save from all this Ukudu power plant. So distribution on the basis has to be taken care of better. That's that, and even Admiral Nicholson had mentioned that that was their issues. It wasn't Guam Power Authority serving, it was the distribution system and the bases that were not up to par. They were not underground. They were not being, so that's what has been their
Still
focus.
wooden
So,
poles and stuff like that
right.
instead of concrete poles.
Yeah. So what we have done now, Ron, is actually I'm pursuing and trying to see who would help, like who maybe eventually take the lead on this. But we would like uh, to serve the distribution system in the bases. We Nobody trains linemen, underground people. Have apprenticeship program going, real U.S. Department of Labor certified program going except us. I can station personnel on the two bases or wherever to make sure that they are always on. We hold inventory. We hold $15 million of inventory in the island. Why have two locations holding inventory? We we serve our customers distribution costs 4 cents a kilowatt hours. DOD is serving at substantially several times of that, is my understanding. So from
Yeah, I
economists
think
of
the biggest
scale,
concern with that,
yeah,
John, quite frankly, is there's a concern that when the time comes, they're not going to get the priority or they're not going to get the response from GPA. So they want to be able to control it. If you could find a way to communicate to them and show and demonstrate that you can be reliable, responsive to all of their different needs, their urgencies, their priorities, that, like you say, you make a compelling argument.
yeah, and then it's going to be a win-win scenario for everyone. But so my way is that okay, we can make that happen very easily actually. This group that are on the bases are under the dispatch control center of DOD. We provide, and so what assurance do you need? What assurance do they need from us to ensure that I don't pull those personnel? And Navy and DoD is a 20% customer. Why would I want to anyone hurt that 20% customer? See, so yes, you're right. I think thank you for that message, no, because we certainly will look at it and maybe yeah, we're approaching it the wrong way, right? But to me, it's really a win-win scenario. They don't. I mean, we've helped out after the storm. We provided the concrete poles to NAFAC for military base Guam and stuff. We have the bucket trucks today. We have 35. If I had to buy 10 more to put on the basis itself, that's so be it. That's what we can utilize the fundings that we both get to make things happen. But again, it's for another day. But I just
Yeah.
want to know, let everyone know that in my mind, I think there's no one that can service them better than us in making that happen, right? And so
Yeah,
that,
this has been a really great conversation. Really appreciate this. So my last question to kind of let you take us uh off here. As you kind of fast forward down to 2030, 2035 time frame, what does success look like for GPA and the island of Guam in terms of power, sustainability, and resilience? And what message would you have for young professionals, students, entrepreneurs about what role they could play in Guam's energy future?
well, Rob, that's a very good question. And again, let me sum up where we believe we're going to be by 2030 or so. And in no uncertain terms, I think in my mind, we are getting there and we are contracting. And that's to be having the Ukudu power plant on the line, being able to diversify in fuel sources within natural gas, diesel, and renewables. So any one of those could serve the energy needs of the island. Um, Being able to get to 50% energy that will help us and because all our power purchase renewable contract have a 1% escalator only, so therefore they basically are almost level for 20-25 years, not like fuel oil. That will provide us with a basis to have affordable energy on a sustained basis. I'm looking forward to I'm praying and hoping that we get underground funding so we can underground more and more of our system. GPA got to 98, 99% concrete pole. You can hardly find a wooden pole on the civilian side of the island. By aggressively putting chunks and chunks of infrastructure in. If we have to do it, we'll do it, that same way for underground. However, because of threats and everything around, the faster we can do that. If I can find a chunk of $1.5 billion out there, that will go a long way for not only for the island, but also the military community, because a lot of the people are working off the bases, staying outside the bases, working on the
Correct.
bases. And if they're not totally, their quality of life is so disrupted, that's not in our best interest either, right? So all of this is coming very shortly. And again, we're true to our word in making it happen. And of course, we're constantly looking at other ways to make things happen. One of the things that really haven't mentioned, and it's been really a part of us over the past 5 years now, and again further into the next 5 to 10 years, is that about 5 years ago, 60% of the GPA workforce is eligible for retirement because of the Government of Guam Retirement Plan, the DB plan. So when they hit that mark, there's no way that they're not going to retire because they're not making any money at that point, right?
Right.
We've got that down to 45% now, but still.
Mm,
And how do we do that? We have internship, apprenticeship program. We've hired engineers, all of the civil engineers, all of the University of Guam that we're training to be mechanical and electrical engineers today.
yes.
So we have a lot of young engineers. We're hiring a lot of graduates and training them to be linemen and all the different substation, all the different proponents necessary for to run the power ship. A power ship internship for financials, everything is happening now because of this huge retirement basis. And so we got to handle, and the workforce is going to change substantially. However, there will be a well-trained workforce and a very passionate workforce. And so my message to all these young professionals is come work for GPA. Come think out of the box. Come be empowered to make recommendations and decisions as to how you can service the island that you love the best way you can. As far as compensation, we are moving our compensation up, Russ, so that we can actually provide all the employees a reasonable living standard and be able to afford having families here and living on this island, because we again don't want to lose all of this personnel and train. Remember what
Yes.
I said in the beginning, our total revenue, only 8% goes to labor. Only 8%. If you
Mm,
know, government of Guam is about 90% goes to labor. Only 8% goes to labor. So bringing that up to getting the best quality personnel, operate the system, be accountable, well, now
yes.
is a very, very good investment. So that's kind of where we're heading, yeah, as a utility, no?
Yeah, this was awesome. I could be here all day with you, John. You're a wealth of knowledge and definitely a treasure to this island when you talk about utilities and running and managing the utilities of the island. So thank you on behalf of all the people of Guam for all of your service. Um, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Rob, and thank you again for reaching out to us. And we'll pass the word on and see get Miguel on. He also has been really, working hard to make sure on the water side. And of course, we're one family over here under the CCU. We have to work together. Just the building that we are in Fadian is a huge savings already for the ratepayers in terms of travel time and everything. Both power and water is here in this one building, and it's already been 10 years old and 50% paid off. But again, it's where, you know, that we're investing, making things happen to reduce the cost for the ratepayer. So, Ro, thank you very much. I really appreciate
Oh,
this.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
yeah,
really appreciate it,
yeah.
John. And for my audience, I hope you learned something today. I certainly did. Please watch my podcast dropping weekly at the beginning of each week. Follow me on social media platforms. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and engage with all of my content. I'm really trying to get my content in front of more people, and your engagement with the content really helps the algorithm so we can get this content in front of more and more people as we go forward. Don't forget to read my Innovate column at the guampdn.com the first and third Fridays of each month. And again, until next time, see you, and remember, no matter whether you're at work, whether you're at home or at play, always innovate. Thank you.